Hello and welcome back to another video on Unpacked Technologies. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to adjust the language and region settings on your macOS device. Following this process will allow you to adjust settings like the region, currency, time formats, and more right from the settings page. So let's get straight into it. Alright, so this is a pretty simple process, but it's great in allowing you to adjust your Mac settings to what works best for you in your specific region. So what you need to do is start by opening up System Settings. Then once you're in System Settings, what you want to do is click on General, and then you want to go to Language and Region. And then you'll see some settings here. So you can see that this is language and region, and I'll go from top to bottom and explain a little bit about each setting. It's fairly straightforward, but I'll just go into a little bit of detail. So you can see at the top we've got preferred languages. For me, this is English Australia. That's my primary language. If I wanted to add another language, I can click the plus button, and you can see there's a lot of other languages I can add here. And I can say that that's like a secondary language, for example. So if I added, for example, English US, and then it'll say, would you like to use English US as your primary language? When changing your primary language, some applications may not use the new language until your computer is restarted. Now, in this case, I would want to keep English Australia as my primary language, but then it's just added English US as a secondary language. So that's what you can sort of do there. And then if I click that and I want to remove it at any time, I can just click the minus button and it removes it off the computer. So you can add a number of different languages onto there. It's great if you need to quickly switch between them. Then you can see some information about how certain things are displayed on your Mac. So you can change a number of these settings, and then you can view a preview of what it sort of looks like up here. So I'll run you through each of these. So region here, obviously I'm in Australia, but you can choose the region based on your continent. So you've got Africa, Americas, Asia, Europe, and Oceania. So you can choose your country based on sort of which continent it's on. So in this case, Australia is in this list, but you can choose whatever suits you for your region. Then for calendar, you can choose, by default, for me in Australia, it's the Georgian calendar. However, there are a number of different calendar options listed there depending on what your personal preferences are. Then you can see in temperature, I can choose either degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. Obviously in Australia we use degrees, but you can use Fahrenheit if you'd like to. You can mix and match these settings. So even though my region's set to Australia, if you'd like to use Fahrenheit, you can. But obviously it tries to set these settings based on what it sort of thinks is best for each region. Measurement system, obviously here we use the metric system. But you can change it between US and UK as well. First day of the week, by default, it's set to Monday, but there's a list there of different days. Date format, you can see you can change it. So I've got currently set to DDMYYYY, but you could do something like DDMMYY, or you could do the month first. Sorry, this was DDMYY. Or there's a few different options there. Here's DDMMYYYY. So there's a few different options there. This is just the default setting. And then number format. You can see that by default for my region it's set to commas and then a decimal point for anything after that for decimal places. But you can see there's a few different options. You could remove the commas altogether and things like that, depending on what your personal preferences are. And when you change each of these settings, you can just see some examples of what it would be like to show the date, the time, the specific date here in that format, and the time there. And then also your currency and number format and things like that. Now, if we continue to scroll down, you can see we've got live text. Select text in images to copy or take action. So what that does is if you've got an image and you've got some text on it, you can drag over it and copy and paste it and use it in other applications. Very helpful feature. I'm pretty sure that's on by default, but you can turn that off or on depending on what you would like. And in applications, customize language settings for the following applications. You can decide if there's a specific application that you want to have specific language settings for. So for example, Brave browser, I could change it to a different language that I might want to use on my browser instead. So if I were to change that, it would allow me to have a specific setting just for that application. So if you chose that language and then clicked add, that would work. It won't let me add it now because obviously it's already on the system default, so it's not a specific language change, but you can change that if you would like. We've also got translation languages here, so there's a number of different languages for download. If you want to use the built-in translating features, you can download these at any time, and then it will allow you to translate certain aspects. You can also turn on or off on device mode where it says always translate offline using downloaded languages. Offline translations may not be as accurate as online translations. Siri and Safari will always process translations online. So you can choose that if you would want and download the languages that you want for translation. And you can also see the privacy settings here with Learn More and see how your data is managed. So yeah, that's a pretty simple process on how to adjust the language and region settings on your macOS device. Hopefully this video was helpful. It's given you a good idea on how to dive in and change specific settings if you would like them. And even if it's just giving you a good overview of how to change these settings, that would be really good. So I hope this video has been helpful. And let me know down in the comments below if there's any other videos you'd like me to make, whether it's more macOS settings or maybe other tutorials or things like that, because I'm more than happy to make those if you'd like to see them. And with that, thanks for watching this video on Unpack Technologies. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.